before I tell you guys how old he is, I'm going to show you how he starts. So Kodi trees are special. Kodi trees are monoecious, which means they both have the male cone and the female cone in the same tree. In October, both the male and the female cone will grow on the edge of the branches, and then the male cone will grow about 1 meter above the female cone. In November, the male cone will open up, and it gives them about 48 hours to wind pollinate the female cone. Once the female cone's pollinated, chili starts off that big, and it takes her 3 years to grow to the size of this. And then once it makes it to the size of that, on a windy day in late January, early February, they explode, and they explode up and out so that it shoots the seeds off to the side. And they've got all of these female seed sections, and inside each female seed section there's a seed, and each seed has a wing on it, and that wing's designed to catch the wind so that the seed flies off to the side out of the shadow of the parent tree into some sun, germinates, and then 2,000 years later you have a tree like Tane Mahuta. So can you guys see how scaly the bark looks? So that's a defense mechanism for those two vines you can see crawling up the side of the tree. And what happens is a little piece of bark, just like this one, will fall away. And when it falls away, it takes a little piece of the stem with it. And anything above the severed stem dies off, and it stops the vine from crawling all the way up to the top of the canopy and suffocating his foliage, and also suffocating that ecosystem that he hosts up there. So up there in his canopy, he's got an ecosystem of 102 different plant species, different grasses, shrubs, orchids, epiphytes, lichens, mosses. There's even a tōtara tree and a pahutakawa tree up at the top of Tane Mahuta. And it's the weight of all of those plants, the soil and the canopy itself, all the branches on the top of the tree, all that weight combined together is about 200 tons. And all of the weight pushing down on the trunk is what's causing those grooves in the tree, or those crisscross patterns you can see going up and down the tree. So when they're young, they grow up in a twist, but you can't see the crisscross patterns or the twist when they're young, because their canopy is not as heavy when they're younger. So if you look behind you, you'll see a 400-year-old Kodi tree, and you can't see the lines in that one. That's because that Kodi tree's canopy is not as heavy as Tane Mahuta's one. But you give him another 1,500 years, and then he'll be just as big as Tane Mahuta, and that's when he'll start to sit back down on his twist. You guys over there might not be able to see it, but over this side there is a branch, and it's freshly snapped. And can you see what looks like wood hanging down at the base of the snap? That's not the wood, that's the Kodi gum. Because the Kodi tree is the crown canopy, he's susceptible to strong winds, storms, lightning strikes, and that's what causes the branches to fall out of the tree. But what the tree does is it'll ooze out all of the Kodi gum from the end of the snap, and then all the outside wood will start rotting, and it rots all the way until it hits the Kodi gum. And then the Kodi gum stops all the rot, infections, the bugs and the diseases from getting inside and eating away at the healthy bit of the branch. And then when he's finished healing off that branch, he'll just grow another branch out of the end of it. Can you see those bumps going up and down the tree? That's from when the branches have fallen out of the tree. And because some of those branches are as heavy as other trees on the ground, when they hit the side of the trunk, they leave a big wound. And if that wound was left open, water gets in and it starts to rot away the side of the trunk. So what the Kodi tree does is he oozes out all of the Kodi gum out of the side of the tree, and that acts like a plaster, and it helps the tree to heal the side of his trunk so that it doesn't rot from the side. That's 3 defense mechanisms I've told you about the tree. The scales for the vines, the healing of the branches, and the healing of the trunk. He's got one more defense mechanism, and that's for the soil that those 102 different plant species have to have up there to survive. Now, wet soil rots wood. Same for up in the tree. But what the Kodi tree does is he produces a big cap of Kodi gum, and what it does is it holds this moisture of the soil in the top of the tree so that the soil doesn't rot down into the heartwood of the tree and kill the tree. So that's 4 things that I've told you about the Kodi tree's defense mechanisms. There's one thing he can't protect himself against, and that's humans and the pathogens that we can bring through on our shoes. So that's why we have the wash station out the front. Thank you all for using the wash station and helping to protect our Kodi trees. Muchly appreciated. Yeah, and so that's my job, is to give you guys a little bit of information about the tree and tell you guys why it's so important to stay on the track, because the disease is soil borne. So you could walk over to a tree in the forest that's infected, you won't be able to see the disease in the soil, and then you see a healthy tree in the forest and decide to go walk over to that one, and if you do that, you've just infected the healthy tree. So that's why it's important to stay on the tracks and not go walking through the forest willy-nilly. So my favorite part about the tree is the root system, because I believe that's the part of the tree that's trying to re-teach us how important the balance of nature is. So here it goes. Shooting 5 meters into the ground is this taproot system, and when you think about a tree this tall and this heavy, 5 meters into the ground is nothing. But connected to that root system and up towards the surface, even shallower, only that deep, is the lateral feeding root system, and that goes double the width of the canopy. So we'll go all the way out to that back platform down there and go right around the tree. And then on the end of that is the peg root system, and they're about that thick, and they shoot 5 meters into the ground, and their job is to hold the mat down. And even all of that root system's still not enough to keep a Kodi tree in the ground. All the weight of all of these other trees and their roots woven in with his roots is what's keeping Tane Mahuta in the ground. So if all of these other trees around us were to disappear, it would just take a storm and it'd come falling over, because his roots are not deep enough in the ground and the dirt is not heavy enough to keep those roots in the ground. So that's the example of the balance Tane Mahuta has come to within his environment. Even though he's the most dominant tree in the whole forest, he still doesn't want to grow too tall and branch out and shade his canopy out too much, because if he does that, he shades out all of the trees underneath him, and then if they go, he falls over. It's a good lesson for us as humans to learn, because even though we're the most dominant species on the whole planet, we're still cutting down the rainforest and we're still poisoning all the rivers and the lakes. If we cut down all the trees and we poison all the rivers and the lakes, we'll be just like Tane Mahuta without a support system. And like Tane Mahuta without a support system, we'll all come falling down. So that is the message I believe Tane Mahuta is trying to send out to the rest of the world. All big trees, all nature around the world need our help right now. So if you would like to help Tane Mahuta to spread his message about how important the balance of nature is and how we should be all trying to bring it back, he'll muchly appreciate that too. Kia ora everybody.
Kia ora. Thank you.